feel like a punching bag most days, and like that makes me sad. And like that, you deal with bouts of depression, and like I've been a manic depressive most of my life, growing up fat, you know, being made fun of in school, and then getting made fun of while I'm at work, and then I come to a YouTube career, which, you know, it started off pretty well, then ended in, as life always does, getting made fun of. And then you get people that twist facts on you and shit, and like blow shit out of proportion. I mean, like I normally don't talk bad about the guys on PKA, but like I like the guys on PKA. Let me put that out there. I do. But like this whole notion that I'm the toxic friend has to go out the window at this point. It's like Woody recently commented on that he'll never forgive me for like backing somebody that made fun of his son, which I've told the story multiple times. The only reason I donated money to Obviously Jesus was to make myself look good, because Obviously Jesus was on my case before he was on Woody's case. And once Woody got more popular than me, he's seen that it'd be more advantageous for him to fuck with Woody than fucking with me. He was just that kind of person. He was like that little fish that sucks on the fucking titty of a shark. That's what Obviously Jesus was. He was like, he used drama to propel himself into the light without any kind of meaning. So, Obviously Jesus was fucking with me years before Woody. And then he was fucking with Woody hard. So what ended up happening was, I go to Woody, I'm like, hey man, this guy wants like $6,000 to fucking leave YouTube. Let's look like the bigger man here. Get some browning points with the community. Donate a, you know, $50 bill, $100 bill, some shit. Like, granted, $50 or $100 bill is a lot of money for a lot of people. But at that point in time in my YouTube career, I'd wipe my ass with a $50 bill. Like, I was making $12,000 a month. $50 to me was like 50 cents. You know, I at that point in my life, I could walk around with $5 in my pocket and not flinch if I lost it. That's just where I was at. So I donated $50 to his campaign, and the whole idea wasn't because I fucking was on Obviously Jesus' side. I hate fucking Obviously Jesus. Like, this dude was a scoundrel from... there's never been a period in my life where Obviously Jesus was not a scoundrel. Like, not even in private, if you ever talked to him in private. But, so I donated to his campaign. I threw $50 his way to help him get the fuck off YouTube. Right? Headache out of my hair. And I went to Woody that very day. I'm like, Woody, yo, I did this. You should probably do it too. And Woody was having nothing to do with it. He wanted no part of this. He didn't like Obviously Jesus. He wouldn't have pissed on Obviously Jesus if his fucking, you know, he was on fire, right? So he wanted me to like take the donation back and all this other stuff, and like, I've never been an advocate for charging back. And I felt like what I was doing was the right move. Be the bigger man. Rise above the person that hates on you. So I didn't take the donation back. I just let him have it. And I guess Woody resented me the whole time for that. And the other thing that Woody didn't like was the time I gave Thunder some SEO. Because Thunder would actively make fun of Woody's kid. And I had nothing to do with that. I wasn't actively being like, yo, Thunder, you should make fun of Woody's kid. And I'm like, that's not how it was at all. What it was I was friends with Thunder for a long time. Like, if you go back to my oldest videos, you'll see Thunder Toro playing alongside me in Modern Warfare 2. And me and Thunder was talking on Skype one day, and I'm like, dude, the key to getting ahead is SEO. And I gave Thunder all this SEO knowledge, and Thunder started implementing this SEO knowledge, and through hard work and etiquette of his own, made a more a successful YouTube channel. He's like one of the few like old school YouTube guys still doing it. And Woody hated that I actually gave this guy tips, and he wanted me not to talk to him or not be friends with him. And my whole line of thinking was like, I understand you and him got beef, but he's never done nothing to me, right? At the time, he's never done anything to me. He's made fun of me at this point. But so like I'm like, I understand you two don't like each other, but that doesn't mean I ain't gotta like him. And Woody didn't like that I didn't automatically go like loyal dog mode to him. And And one of those two situations is what Woody has the disrespect on me for. And that's what I just said was the honest truth. I mean, like, honestly, not my monkey, not my circus is the answer to that, Dion. Like, why did I not, like, check up on it? Because, like, it wasn't my business. Like, if they're beefing, that's on them, right? I had no hand in that. What else? What was like? Oh, but like, I got alienated as this toxic friend. And granted, I did have a temper going into a lot of things, and like especially video games. Like to this day, like even through Lexapro, Call of Duty would get me upset. Especially now since I haven't really played Call of Duty a whole lot in my life. Well, not in my life, but like recently in my life. I haven't like played tons and tons of Call of Duty. So I'm not as good at Call of Duty as I would say as I used to be. Because I used to play it like fucking 5 hours a fucking day or some shit like that. Like it was a full-time fucking job. But, granted, I really needed to be on Lexapro much earlier in my life than I actually did. That's a fucking fact. And I apologize for how I acted back then. But as you get older, you get wiser and things like that. But constantly making somebody remind them of their past. Like, I always try to be... I try... Lately, like the last 3 or 4 years of my life, I've been trying to be the bigger man in everything. Like, I try to look at two sides of the argument, the whole nine. But those two scenarios is what Woody considers me toxic. And the fact I didn't go on a camping trip. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, really? Like, I didn't think when I sat out the camping trip could be that big of a deal. Fuck it. Right? Like... And, like, why would two people that were, like, borderline millionaires at the time give a fuck about the camping trip either? Like, okay, Wings didn't show up. Even then, I did give them more time than they stated I gave them. Camping trip was that Sunday. I called out that Friday morning. Kyle left early. Hey, JD Cox, thank you for the $20. But let's look at what PKA has done to me in return. Like, I didn't go on a camping trip. I missed a couple shows where I slept in, or I ditched a show one time to go to a concert. And the reason I was doing that because I had a very bad case of cabin fever. We didn't get paid for PKA, even though like I begged them to take sponsorships and things like that. And like I even mapped out a couple ways that we could monetize PKA, and they didn't want to do that. They felt like it would what word did they use? Basically breach of trust for the audience of the show, that since it's always been a free product. Patreon wasn't around back then, but I had a lot of money problems into like from 2012 to like 2014, mid 2014ish. I'd say my money problems, I stopped having money problems probably late 2014, early 2015. That's when I kind of got flush again, where like every day of my life wasn't a constant worry about how am I going to pay this bill, right? So the what was I saying? So I've had issues with my brain before. I've been a manic depressive my whole life. I've been on and off Paxil most of my life, and I spent the last decade in the spotlight dealing with like fucking anxiety and depression without any form of medication to keep me balanced. And I reacted like a person without a father figure usually would react, like a big fucking child. And I'll admit that. And I still have childish reactions. But that's because like I've only really had two father figures in my life, and Woody is one of them. Not my monkey, not my circus. I've only really had two father figures in my life, and Woody is one of them.
Not my monkey, not my circus.
Like, even though he didn't ask to be. Like, because I looked up at Woody as a father figure. Because, like, he was the only like, man, like, figure in my life I could go to for advice. Like, everything else was, like, on my mother. And I love my mother to death. She was a great woman. She pulled us out of the fucking ghetto. But my mother doesn't have a whole lot of life experience outside of the struggle. Whereas Woody came from a different class of people. He came from a different, background. Like he was a real benefit to me in my life, especially early on in my life when I was young and impressionable. And then you have just people just straight fucking lie on you, which that's a whole nother thing. I had a guy lie on me like I was making fun of Woody in like a Discord one time. And the dude straight lied on me, and I had to fucking go undercover to get him to admit that he lied on me. But let's see what PKA has done to me over the years. Like, granted, I put the fuel for it out there with having freakouts on World War II, but the troll channels really kicked off when PKA started highlighting them. Like when Kyle would start spending 45 minutes to an hour every week on a show with hundreds of thousands of viewers saying, look at this channel that made fun of Wings this time. Look at the latest Wings breakdown, and it's straight making fun of me and like constantly sending more people to like poke the bear. So the whole underbelly of like Under the Bridge and the Lion's Den and everything else was partially created by PKA. Granted, I was a major factor in there too. Don't let me sit here and say like, oh, I was an innocent victim. No, I was having fucking freakouts and shit like that. But they helped push along that narrative. They let it grow faster than it normally would grow without their assistance. And then after that fact, they basically invite a character assassinator onto their podcast and give him the worst version of every story they could possibly think that involves me. They over elaborate everything, just like the story I told in my last stream. I don't think it was last one or one before. Yesterday's stream. How Kyle stated like I played loud music all fucking night. Granted, how often do you see me like without headphones on? My headphones are so synonymous, right? My headphones are so synonymous with being on that in my RSK picture, I have fucking headphones on, right? Like, that's almost a defining characteristic of my character. So, how can a man sit there and complain about me playing loud music all night when I wear headphones anytime I'm on the computer? Like, even by myself, I'll sit there and listen to music and movies and everything with headphones. Why? Because if I play them on the speakers here, and I look, and I'm playing the TV over there, it doesn't feel centered. It messes up my equilibrium. So, but if I have headphones, the sound travels with my ears. Right? But what happened was a Family Guy episode. And he made this huge deal out of this Family Guy episode. I think if I pull one of these should actually blow those up. Let's go try this. This is the first time I put 2 and 2 together. Let's see if we can. There we go. And that happened like one night, 1 second. And Kyle made it like he had to move to the other side of the house because he couldn't get any sleep. Which I turned it down that very instant. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, man. Because I know how it is not to sleep. But like, I can't sleep with a light on. I just can't do it. I have to have a fan and I have to have a light. He did ask me to turn it down, and I turned it down. That was the end of the fucking debate. But like, if you go listen to PKA, he made it sound like I was this dumb hick that did nothing and didn't care about anybody's feelings, and that's never been who I was. Like, even when I had like, fucking like anger issues. Anger is just like a series of like 3 things all compounded into one. It's like frustration, fear, and humility. Like when you're humiliated, you have fear or frustration, you resort to an anger. It's just a communication problem for the most part. So, I don't know. I just feel like PKA has done more harm to me than I've ever done to them. I donated $50 to somebody that hated on Woody's kid. Woody had a person on their podcast and talk shit about me. I'm not saying Woody specifically, but PK in general. They talk shit about me. And I had 30 assault rifles pointed in my face when I went to get water in the kitchen. Right? Totally different things. Right? I gave Thunder SEO information, how to grow his YouTube channel, and in return, I have memes everywhere on the internet calling me a racist pedophile. How does that correlate? I helped build a show up that makes them hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I get kicked off the show with no monetary compensation whatsoever. What do I get in return? I get people going to the IRS to fucking get them to audit me. I mean, like, I feel like I feel like I'm, and with all that being said, I still like them. I still appreciate them. I still would like to talk to them from time to time. But like this whole like Wings is the toxic friend is like almost political at this point. That's like somebody stealing a pack of M&Ms from the store, and then the person that owns the store does gentrification to the apartment building that you live into, but I'm a fucking thief that stole M&Ms from the store because I was hungry. Like, yeah, both of them are fucking wrong, but if you paint them in the right direction, one's a stalwart businessman that puts money in the pockets of all the peons that work for him, while the other is just a helpless thief. I don't know. That's life. Big dick in your mouth all day. I just had to get that off my chest.